Breaking news, Viking Nation. The first revelation is about to detonate inside US Bank Stadium. And trust me, you're not ready for the earthquake that's coming. Tonight, we're diving deep into 5 explosive stories that could reshape the entire future of this franchise. And each one hits harder than the last. A cornerback's career hangs by a thread while the front office plays chess with draft picks like they're planning something massive. A safety just proved he's got coaching DNA running through his veins while calling plays from the sideline. An old friend got cut loose to make room for a familiar face. And a veteran quarterback just walked through those doors with championship rings on his fingers. Each of these shocks could redefine the trajectory of this team before September even arrives. And if you think you know what's coming next, think again, because this story starts with a player who might not even make it to week 1. Are you ready to witness how one bad preseason can destroy a third-round investment? Because what I'm about to tell you about Mekhi Blackmon will leave every Vikings fan questioning everything they thought they knew about this defense. The clock is ticking, the roster spots are shrinking, and the first bombshell is about to drop right now. But hold on, as shocking as that cornerback situation is, the front office just made moves that have every NFL insider buzzing about what's coming next. Mekhi Blackmon. Remember that name because it might be the last time you hear it in purple and gold. This third-year cornerback, who was supposed to be a building block for Brian Flores' defense, has become the poster child for draft disappointment, and the writing on the wall is getting darker by the day. We're talking about a guy who was selected in the 3rd round of the 2023 draft. Someone the organization believed could develop into a reliable piece of their secondary puzzle. But 3 preseason games have turned that dream into a nightmare that might cost him his NFL career. The transition from outside cornerback to slot defender has been nothing short of disastrous. And when you're dealing with Pro Football Focus grades that drop from 55.9 to 52.1 to a rock-bottom 43.1 in consecutive games, you know we're witnessing a player whose confidence is shattered and whose future is crumbling in real time. Brian Flores demanded versatility, asked Blackmon to master the slot position where receivers have unlimited freedom to move east and west, where the safety net of the sideline disappears and every mistake gets magnified under the bright lights. The result? A defensive back who looks lost, confused, and completely overwhelmed by the speed and complexity of NFL-level route combinations. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah has never been afraid to make bold decisions, has never hesitated to cut ties with underperforming players regardless of draft pedigree. And if Blackmon can't turn this ship around immediately, he'll become another casualty of a front office that demands excellence from every position on the roster. Think about the bigger picture here. This is the same GM who whiffed on Andrew Booth Jr. and at Caleb Evans in 2022, who desperately needs his 2023 cornerback pick to work out, but might be forced to admit another mistake at the position that continues to haunt this franchise. The secondary depth chart is already questionable, with Byron Murphy Jr. needing to prove he can maintain CB1 performance, with Isaiah Rodgers and Jeff Okudah carrying their own question marks. And if Blackmon gets cut, that margin for error disappears completely. What happens when teams start targeting this secondary with elite receivers? What happens when the pass rush can't get home fast enough and these cornerbacks get exposed in coverage? The domino effect of losing Blackmon might seem minor now, but it could become the crack that breaks this entire defensive foundation when the games start counting for real. Viking Nation, I need you to understand something. No NFL quarterback fears throwing at Mekhi Blackmon right now, and that's a death sentence for any defensive back trying to survive in this league. And just when fans thought the cornerback situation couldn't get more complicated, here comes the next bombshell that reveals exactly what this front office is planning behind the scenes. The trade market is heating up, and Kwesi Adofo-Mensah just positioned the Vikings to make a splash that could change everything about this offense. But the strategy is so calculated and the stakes so high that one wrong move could waste an entire season's worth of preparation. Recent trades of Sam Howell and Harrison Phillips have generated a treasure chest of draft capital that's got NFL insiders speculating about Minnesota's next target. And when you connect the dots between these moves and the wide receiver market, the picture becomes crystal clear. We're talking about a 5th round pick in 2026, a 6th round pick in 2026, a 6th round pick in 2027, and a 7th round pick in 2027. Enough ammunition to land a veteran wide receiver who could be the missing piece for JJ. McCarthy's development. The timing is perfect, the need is obvious, and the targets are already being identified by sources close to the organization. Adam Thielen's name keeps surfacing in these conversations. The former Vikings legend who knows this system, who has chemistry with his coaching staff, and who could slide right back into purple and gold like he never left Minneapolis. But Thielen isn't the only option on the board. Romeo Doubs from the Packers would be the ultimate middle finger to Green Bay. Mecole Hardman brings championship experience and speed that stretches defenses vertically. Curtis Samuel from Buffalo offers versatility and toughness that fits perfectly with Kevin O'Connell's offensive philosophy. The beauty of this situation is that Minnesota doesn't have to overpay, doesn't have to mortgage their future for a single player, because Jordan Addison is coming back from his 3-week suspension, and Jalen Naylor's injury isn't serious enough to panic about long-term depth. This gives Adolfo Mensah all the leverage he needs to negotiate from a position of strength, to find value in a market where other teams might be desperate to clear salary cap space or roster spots before the season begins. But here's what makes this move even more intriguing. JJ. McCarthy needs weapons, needs reliable targets who can help him navigate the complexities of NFL defenses, and adding a veteran presence to complement Justin Jefferson's elite production could be the difference between a rookie quarterback struggling through growing pains versus thriving in a system designed to maximize his potential. The question isn't whether Minnesota will make a move, it's which move they'll make and how quickly they can execute it before other contenders start bidding against them. Viking Nation, are you ready to welcome back an old friend, or would you rather steal a weapon from a division rival? Because this front office is about to pull the trigger on something special, and the ripple effects will be felt throughout the entire NFC North. But that's not the only chess move happening inside this organization. The next revelation shows just how deep the leadership and football IQ runs in this locker room, and it might have revealed the future defensive coordinator of this franchise. What I'm about to tell you about Josh Metellus will make you appreciate the type of culture Brian Flores has built in Minnesota. The type of player development that turns versatile athletes into legitimate leaders who can impact games in ways that don't show up on the stat sheet. During Friday night's preseason finale against Tennessee, something unprecedented happened that showcased the trust this coaching staff has in their players and the football intelligence that separates good teams from championship contenders. Metellus didn't just play safety, didn't just cover receivers or make tackles. He called an entire defensive series from the sideline, wore a headset like a coach, and orchestrated a sequence that resulted in 2 tight ends penalties, 4 total plays, and a punt that flipped field position in Minnesota's favor. This isn't just a feel-good story about a player getting to play coach for a few snaps. This is proof that Metellus understands every position in Flores' complex defensive scheme, can process information at the speed of sound, and possesses the communication skills to lead grown men in high-pressure situations. The fact that Flores trusted him with this responsibility speaks volumes about Metellus' football IQ, his preparation habits, and his ability to see the game from a coordinator's perspective, even while wearing a jersey instead of a headset. But the implications go far beyond one preseason series, because Metellus has already proven he can play multiple positions, has already shown he can adapt to different roles based on game situations, and now we know he can think like a coach while performing like an elite athlete. When Metellus talks about how much fun it is to play in Flores' aggressive system, how every look is designed to confuse opposing quarterbacks and create hesitation in their decision-making process, you can hear the passion of someone who truly understands the art and science of defensive football. The versatility that allows him to move around the formation, the intelligence that helps him recognize offensive tendencies before they develop, the leadership that makes teammates trust his instincts in crucial moments. These are the qualities that separate good players from irreplaceable players. And when he jokes about having to convince his wife before pursuing a coaching career, you can see the wheels turning in his head, can sense that he's already thinking about life after playing and how he might impact future generations of defensive backs. This is the type of player who makes everyone around him better, who elevates the performance of the entire unit through preparation and example, and who represents everything this franchise wants to build moving forward. Viking Nation, how many teams have players who can literally coach themselves during games? How many defenses have the luxury of putting someone on the field who thinks like a coordinator while moving like an athlete? This is what championship culture looks like, and Josh Metellus just proved he's the heartbeat of this entire defensive operation. Stay with me, because what comes next will flip the script in ways nobody predicted, and it involves a familiar face whose journey just took another unexpected turn. The chess moves don't stop with draft picks and coaching moments, because personnel decisions create ripple effects that connect teams across the league. And the latest transaction involving the Vikings proves that NFL careers are fragile, unpredictable, and often come full circle in the most ironic ways possible. Cine, the former first-round safety who was supposed to be a cornerstone of Minnesota's secondary, just got released by Philadelphia to make room for Sam Howell, the same quarterback the Vikings just traded away to the Eagles. Let that irony sink in for a moment. Minneapolis trades a quarterback to Philadelphia. Philadelphia cuts a former Vikings first-round pick to make room for that quarterback, and suddenly we're witnessing the brutal reality of how quickly NFL dreams can evaporate regardless of draft pedigree or organizational investment. Cine's journey from first-round promise to practice squad uncertainty represents everything that can go wrong with player development, everything that separates potential from production in a league that waits for nobody. Remember the excitement when Minnesota selected him, 32nd overall in 2022. The belief that Georgia's defensive back would bring championship-level instincts to a secondary that desperately needed playmakers. Instead, we got a career derailed by a gruesome leg fracture in week 4 of his rookie season, a recovery process that never quite restored his confidence or explosiveness, and a series of disappointing performances that eventually led to his release from the team that drafted him. The 2023 season was supposed to be his redemption story, his opportunity to prove that the injury was just a temporary setback. But Josh Metellus emerged as the versatile defender everyone thought Cine could become, relegating the former first-rounder to 7 games and 8 defensive snaps in what became a wasted year of development. By 2024, the writing was on the wall. Minnesota cut ties during training camp. Cine bounced between the Jets and Bills without making a meaningful impact. And suddenly a player who was supposed to anchor this defense for the next decade became a cautionary tale about how quickly things can change in professional sports. The Eagles gave him another chance this spring, another opportunity to resurrect a career that had shown so much promise in college, but even that opportunity evaporated when he suffered another injury during preseason and got released to make room for Howell. Now Cine faces the reality that millions of former NFL players know too well. The search for another team, another chance, another opportunity to prove that talent can overcome circumstances if given the right situation. It's a reminder that draft position means nothing once you step on the field, that first-round pedigree can't protect you from injuries or inconsistent performance, and that the NFL will move on with or without you regardless of how much potential you once possessed. Viking Nation, how many times have we seen promising players fail to live up to expectations? How many first-round picks have become footnotes instead of foundations? Cine's story isn't over yet, but it's a sobering reminder that nothing is guaranteed in this league, and every opportunity might be your last one. And listen closely, the next 72 hours might be the most decisive in this franchise's quarterback room. Because while one familiar face was getting cut, another veteran signal caller just walked through the doors with championship experience and a hunger to prove he's not finished yet. Carson Wentz has officially joined the Vikings as their new backup quarterback. And if you think this is just a simple roster move to replace Sam Howell, you're missing the bigger picture of what this signing represents for J.J. McCarthy's development and this team's championship aspirations. This is the same Carson Wentz who was the 2nd overall pick in 2016, who looked like a future MVP candidate before injuries derailed his momentum, who has spent the last 2 seasons learning from championship cultures in Los Angeles and Kansas City. The experience he brings to this quarterback room is invaluable. He knows what it takes to compete at the highest level, understands the mental preparation required to succeed in big moments, and can provide the type of veteran guidance that rookie quarterbacks desperately need during their transition to professional football. But this signing also reveals something crucial about how the organization views their current situation, because bringing in Wentz suggests they want more than just a competent backup. They want someone who can step in and win games if McCarthy needs more development time or if injuries create unexpected opportunities. The timing couldn't be more perfect because Wentz is hungry to prove he can still play at an elite level, is motivated by the chance to compete for a starting role if McCarthy struggles, and brings the type of professionalism and preparation habits that championship organizations demand from every position on the roster. Think about what Wentz learned during his time with the Rams and Chiefs, the system concepts he absorbed, the playoff pressure he experienced, and the championship mentality he witnessed firsthand during his stint in Kansas City. All of that knowledge and experience is now available to McCarthy, available to Kevin O'Connell's offensive system, and available to an organization that's trying to maximize every advantage during that championship window. The depth chart might show Wentz as the backup, but smart organizations know that quarterback competitions don't end when the season starts, that injuries and performance issues can change everything in a single play, and that having multiple options at the most important position creates flexibility that can save entire seasons. Wentz also brings credibility to the quarterback room, brings someone who has started playoff games and competed against elite defenses, and brings the type of veteran presence that can help McCarthy navigate the inevitable challenges that come with being a rookie signal caller in the NFL. This isn't just about having a reliable backup. This is about creating a quarterback room that can adapt to any situation, that can maintain championship level performance regardless of circumstances, and that gives this coaching staff confidence to be aggressive with their game plans, knowing they have multiple options at their disposal. Viking Nation, are you ready to trust a quarterback who learned his craft in championship environments? Are you excited about the veteran leadership that's about to help develop your rookie signal caller? Because Carson Wentz just brought championship DNA to Minneapolis, and the ripple effects of this signing will be felt throughout the entire season. The quarterback room is loaded, the offensive system is ready to unleash its full potential, and this franchise just took another step toward the championship glory that this fan base has been waiting decades to celebrate. And if this week felt like an earthquake, what's coming next could be the aftershock that topples the entire NFC North. Because these 5 stories are just the beginning of what promises to be the most unpredictable and explosive season in Vikings history. Think about everything we just uncovered. A cornerback whose career hangs by a thread while the secondary depth gets tested under playoff pressure. A front office accumulating draft capital to strike like lightning on the trade market for weapons that could transform this offense into an unstoppable force. A safety who's already thinking like a coordinator and leading like a champion while setting the defensive tone for years to come. A former first-round pick whose cautionary tale reminds us that nothing is guaranteed and everything must be earned every single day. And a veteran quarterback whose championship experience just elevated this entire organization's ceiling for what's possible when October arrives. The margins in this league are razor thin. The difference between championship parades and early vacation plans often comes down to single plays, single decisions, single moments that define entire seasons and careers. Makey Blackman's struggle in the slot could expose this defense when it matters most, but it could also motivate the remaining cornerbacks to elevate their games to championship levels. The trade capital from moving Howell and Phillips could land the perfect weapon for McCarthy's development, or it could be the ammunition needed to address unexpected injuries when roster flexibility becomes the difference between playoff berths and disappointing conclusions. Josh Metellus calling plays from the sideline proves this defense has the leadership and intelligence to adapt under pressure, to make real-time adjustments that can swing momentum in crucial moments throughout the season. Cine's release reminds every player on this roster that talent without production means nothing, that first-round pedigree can't save careers that don't deliver when championships are on the line. And Carson Wentz's arrival brings championship experience to a quarterback room that's ready to surprise everyone who doubts what this offense can accomplish with the right leadership and preparation. Viking Nation, I need you to understand something. Championship seasons aren't built on single players or single moments. They're built on the accumulation of smart decisions, veteran leadership, and organizational culture that refuses to accept anything less than excellence. If you believe this team can shock the world and bring that Lombardi trophy to Minneapolis, smash that like button right now and let every Packers, Bears, and Lions fan know that the Vikings are coming for everything they thought belonged to them. Drop a comment telling me which of these stories has you most excited for September, and hit that subscribe button because what's coming next in this championship journey will make everything we just discussed look like child's play. The season hasn't even started yet, and we're already witnessing moves that could define the next decade of Vikings football. Stay with me, stay loyal to this purple and gold family, and get ready to witness something special, because this organization is building something that will make every rival in this division wish they never doubted the heart and soul of Viking Nation. Skål!